The AFC and NFC conference championships are here. Sunday slate starts with surging rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Then the Kansas City Chiefs will host MVP contender Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And here tonight, as part of the conference championship edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, we will preview both of those games, tell you who we believe will be representing the NFC and AFC respectively in Super Bowl 59. Hey there, welcome everybody to the Conference Championships edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. Yes, we will be addressing the NFC and AFC championship games. We will get into that in just a little bit, but we have one other piece of business that we need to get into first and foremost. As we promised you all on Monday night, and we're going to deliver right here and now, we are going to recap the college football playoff national championship game that went down this past Monday night from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. It was the number 7 seed, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, squaring off against the number 8 seed Ohio State Buckeyes. It looked like Ohio State was going to run away with it. They jumped out to a 31-7 lead, but Notre Dame fought all the way back to get to within 31-23. But the Notre Dame defense left Jeremiah Smith wide open and led, and they could have ended it right there. But Ohio State, for good measure, added a field goal. And when all was said and done, it was the Ohio State Buckeyes winning the college football playoff national championship 34-23 over Notre Dame. And for the Buckeyes, well, just like they did 10 years ago in the inaugural college football playoff in 2014, they won that inaugural playoff title. They win the first title of the 12-team playoff era. The numbers: Will Howard, for Ohio State, it was Will Howard, the quarterback Will Howard, 17 of 21, 231 yards, and 2 touchdown passes with 0 interceptions. Quinshon Judkins led the rushing attack with 11 carries, an even 100 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And on the receiving side, it was Jeremiah Smith, 5 catches, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Quinshon Judkins also had 2 catches for 21 yards and a touchdown. Defense recorded 2 sacks, JT Tuimoloau and Sonny Styles with the sacks for Ohio State. For the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they were led by Riley Leonard, 22 of 31, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Riley Leonard was also the leading rusher, 17 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Jaden Greathouse, what a game on the receiving corps. 6 catches, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. Their defense recorded 2 sacks, but the 2 sacks were by one player. That was Joshua Burnham. Joshua Burnham with 2 sacks. Notre Dame got off to an incredible start. They had an insane opening drive that lasted the first 10 minutes of the game. Jumped out to a 7-0 lead. I was thinking, oh my goodness, is this really going to be our night? But Ohio State said, not on our watch. They then scored 31 straight points. Notre Dame then scored 16 straight points to close it to 31-23. And then that one mistake, leaving Jeremiah Smith wide open. And then they added a chip shot field goal for insurance, or as I call it, breathing room. And that was all she wrote. For Ohio State, it's another national championship for them, and it adds to their legacy, and of course this is their 9th national championship overall, and a lot of doubt was made about the job security of their head coach, Ryan Day, after that tough loss to Oregon in Oregon, where they had that questionable play to end the game. And when Will Howard slid inbounds with no timeouts and the clock literally running and they had no time to set up for a game-winning field goal. But as if that wasn't bad enough, they came out absolutely flat in an embarrassing end-of-the-season home loss to their most hated rivals, the Michigan Wolverines. And a lot of people were questioning, and a lot of people were calling for Ryan Day's head. A lot of people say, oh, Ryan Day is done. He's fired. He's done. And then the playoff bracket came out, and Ohio State drew the number 8 seed. They smashed Tennessee in the horseshoe. Then the real statement maker was when they smashed Oregon in the Rose Bowl. And then they knocked off Texas with that, thanks to that Jack Sawyer scoop and score that pretty much sealed that game. And then defeated an upstart Notre Dame team. And let me tell you about this Notre Dame team. They started off with a big win against Texas A&M. But then the following week, well, for their home opener against Northern Illinois, everybody, including myself, thinking, oh, yeah, it's in the bag. We're going to smash them easy. Yeah, nobody told Northern Illinois that. They got too big for their britches, and Northern Illinois pulled the shocker of the season. Derek Ferreira, the guy that we used to work with here, did a video, went on a rant, and said that Notre Dame's season was over. After 2 games, he said season's over. Done. Season's over, huh? Okay. Hold our beer. Notre Dame then proceeded to win every single game after that, smashing Purdue and so forth and so forth and so forth. Had a lot of impressive smash victories, smashing the likes of Purdue, smashing Florida State, smashing Georgia Tech in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, going into MetLife Stadium and smashing Navy, going into Yankee Stadium and smashing Army. And then they made the college football playoff, drawing the 7 seed, defeating Indiana at home in the very first game of the playoff at Notre Dame Stadium. And then the upset of Georgia, who was without their starting quarterback, Carson Beck, went into the Superdome a day late because of that horrific tragedy on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. They knocked off Georgia 23-10 and then had that 5-star classic game against Penn State in my favorite bowl, the Orange Bowl, and won it on a last-second field goal by Mitch Jeter. And let me tell you, they fell behind 31-7 against Ohio State. They could have very easily had folded. They very easily could have said, screw this. We're not coming back from this. No. They may have lost, but they fought like true champions. They did not quit. They refused to quit. They just made that one mistake at the end, leaving Jeremiah Smith wide open. If they didn't do that, and that was on a 3rd and 11, oh, by the way. If they had gotten the stop on that, they would have had a puncher's chance to possibly tie the game and send it into overtime. But like MF mentioned, Notre Dame pocketed $20 million just by making the championship game. They don't have to share that with anybody. And they can take that money and they can rebuild and they can be even stronger going into next year. And who knows, maybe at this time next year, we'll be talking about them maybe in the championship game again, maybe this time winning it. Who knows? But the sky is the limit for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And I couldn't be any prouder of that team. It didn't go the way I would have liked, but it is what it is. But Monday night belonged to the Ohio State Buckeyes. The one thing that breaks my heart more than anything else, 1 year ago, MF and Bullock, they celebrated their Michigan Wolverines winning the national championship, their first in 26 years. I can't believe 1 year later, they had to watch as their most hated rivals celebrated a national championship. That alone made me sick to my stomach. So much so I didn't even bother watching the trophy presentation. That's how sad I was. That's how upset I was about it. But I will give the Devil their due. Congratulations to Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes. 9th national championship in school history. Their first in 10 years since the inaugural playoff in 2014. And any questions about Ryan Day's job security? Stop. Just stop. He's got a job for maybe not for life, but he's gonna have himself a job for quite some time. It would be to entertain the of getting rid of him, but he's got a job now, folks. He's gonna be locked up long term. That's all I'm gonna say. You win a championship, oh yeah, you're getting a long-term deal, buddy. So congratulations, Ohio State. Well deserved. And to Notre Dame, proud of you boys. You could have folded easily when you fell behind big, but you're like, that's not what we do here. You know the sign that they always touch on the way out to the field. Play like a champion today. They may not have won the championship, but they damn sure played like champions. And they will be back next year, no doubt about that. And I'm very encouraged. So not much more to say on that. MF, good old MF Michael Fletcher, right on cue. Come on in. The last few national championship games have not been all that exciting. I mean, but this one, not quite a 5-star. I want to say more of like a 4-star game or so, but
it was about 3.5 to 4.
Yeah, but
I think 3.5 to 4. It was a good one.
Yeah, but it was Ohio State winning the national championship, 34-23. And like I said, Notre Dame easily could have folded. They played like champions. They just made that one mistake at the end. But the big question is, what if they didn't make that mistake?
Basically, the momentum would have been all firmly into Notre Dame's possession because they were coming back. They were making that run. They were only 8 points down at the time that happened. And absolutely, Anthony, you love when I do the X's and O's. You love when I get into the little things about the game. Notre Dame went zero coverage. Basically, what that means, this is the game plan that the Miami Dolphins executed really well. I know this coverage. Zero coverage means it's a straight blitz. You bring everybody to the house. And basically, you lean on your safeties, and you also rely on your corners to basically defend the receivers, because your linebackers are going, your safeties are going, and they're all rushing towards the quarterback. It's what they call a zero blitz. Basically, it's a flat out it's a jailbreak is what I call it. So when that happens, your corners are the ones that needs to make the play on the wide receiver. The one problem was your corner got blown right by Jeremiah Love. Oh, by the way, Jeremiah Love had no catches at that moment that happened. He was bottled the whole night. And that one play tipped the scales in the favor of Ohio State. So that's why that happened. Great comeback. Great performance by Notre Dame. You got to give them everything that they deserve. That 15-play drive that lasted 9 minutes and 15 seconds to start the game was absolutely amazing. But you could also tell Riley Leonard was a little winded. He was tired. You saw it, Anthony. He looked exhausted after that first drive. I kind of got a little nervous. I'm like, is he going to be okay for the rest of the night? Is he going to be fine? Because it looks like he is gasping for air. He definitely looked like he was out on his feet. And that was the first drive of the game. So It was an incredible performance by Notre Dame, but Ohio State made the right plays. They made the right moments. They put the pressure on Notre Dame when they needed to put the pressure on. And then I think they relaxed a little too much. And I think that's the one thing I know that's what the Ohio State fans are yelling and screaming about, is that it looked like they put the foot off the gas, and that's why Notre Dame started making that comeback. That they kind of were thinking, we got it, we can coast and ease our way right into this national championship. And Notre Dame, like you said, play like the champions today. They started playing like champions. They started making that comeback, and you're thinking, uh-oh, what is going on here? And like I said, there was that moment, that 3rd and 11, and I was watching it too, and I saw the linebackers creeping up. I was like, oh, this is going to be a jailbreak. This is an all-out. And sure enough, once he tossed it over the top, all Jeremiah had to do was make the catch. If he makes it, it's game. And sure enough, that happened. So it was an incredible performance by both teams. Ohio State wins the national championship, rightfully so. They're 9th overall. And, the question that I've been hearing was, Ryan Day and the whole 9 yards. Let me just tell you one thing that I've been listening to from Ohio State fans. Yeah, they're happy that they're the national championships. Yes, they're proud that they're number 1. Yes, they're happy that they did what they needed to do to get the job done. There is a small minority that felt like that Notre Dame should have won the national championship because they wanted it to get rid of Ryan Day. They didn't care about winning the national championship. What matters to Ohio State, and I really want to preface this, is they prefer beating Michigan more than winning the national championship. That's what this rivalry means for Ohio State and for Michigan. Ohio State, their mission is very clear. You beat Michigan, you win the Big Ten, you win the national championship. That's the thing I've been barking about for at least the last 2 years on this show. Ever since we basically gave up the Strictly Sports name and became TXN Sports World, that was the one thing we always preached about. Is the rivalry between Michigan and Ohio State is so there that the vitriol and the venom there's no love for either school. Michigan does not like Ohio State. And trust me, Michigan saw that national championship and is like, okay, we beat Ohio State, so we know we can beat them again. And now they're already thinking about next year. They already got a pretty good recruiting class that's already coming in with the number 1 quarterback in the country, Cade Cunningham from New Orleans, Louisiana, who originally signed with LSU, decommitted from LSU to go to Michigan. He is the guy that's going to be the leader of the team starting next year. Cade Cunningham. Remember that name, because that's going to be the name that will take the Maize and Blue and start their journey to regaining the national championship, pulling it from Ohio State, and solidifying themselves as once again the top team in college football. But remember, there's a lot of teams that are going to be like, oh yeah, Mike, you really think that's going to happen? Oregon will have a say in it. Alabama, you know they're gonna reload. You know that Georgia is itching mad after their season they had. And trust me, I'm not sleeping on Notre Dame. Absolutely not. With $20 million in their war chest, and I'll tell you one other thing. You don't think for one second that some of these young kids who were undecided, who are probably right now in that transfer portal, they did not just see Notre Dame and saw what they did, make that run, and know for the fact that maybe they could have a shot at that national championship by donning the golden dome of the Fighting Irish? No. We know this is going to get crazy. So we know what's gonna happen next year. It's just who will be the ones to put it all together and win the title. That's going to be the key thing. For Ohio State, the one thing that really bothered me about the whole thing was that they literally put $20 million to try to get the best players to get the national championships. And it was because of Michigan winning that national championship. Don't get me wrong. Anybody who thinks, oh, Ohio State, got this money because they want, no. They saw what Michigan did. They saw what they did the year before. And they tried to throw Michigan under the bus. Don't get me started with, the Connor Stallions thing. We know Ohio State tried to screw us over. We know for a fact Ohio State was responsible. Oh, the Michigan might be cheating. They're putting up. Get the F out of here. Now, you can say whatever you want to say, that was a asterisk championship. In the eyes of Michigan, we don't give a damn. We won that national championship. We took the title fair and square. And oh, by the way, we beat Ohio State along the way to do it. So it is what it is. So what does Ohio State do? They pull a New York Yankees of the 1990s, early 2000s. They pull an LA Dodgers of last year and now. They got the best players money could buy. They bought the national championship, folks. And I'm going to continue that. I'm going to pound that gavel as hard as I can because I want everybody to know you pay for your talent. You pay through the NIL. You got boosters who basically regulated their own damn thing. Fine by them. They did what they needed to do. Congrats. You did what you got. You got what you got. But for the fact that I'm still hearing people saying, well, Ryan Day's job is not secured, you still got to beat Michigan. And Anthony, I get where you're coming from. You're like, oh no, Ryan Day should be fine. He's got capital for years to come. You don't think for one second if Ryan Day loses to Michigan again, 4 years in a row, 1-5 against the Maize and Blue? No. I think Ryan Day's gone. I still think he gets fired. He just bought himself some time for next year. But if they don't beat Michigan, and now this time around, they got to come to the big house next year. Remember that. They got to come to Michigan. They got to play in Ann Arbor. So Michigan is like, hey, we got ourselves we get to host. This is our house. You don't think Michigan's salivating over the fact about that? Plus, how many of the Ohio State guys are they going to lose through the upcoming NFL draft? Who's going to commit to the NFL draft? Because that's what happened with Michigan. Michigan lost a lot of their guys because of them going to the NFL, moving onward after they won the national championship. Michigan looked a shell of themselves. They did not play great all year long. As a matter of fact, it was one of their worst seasons that Michigan had. But here's the thing. At the end of the year, they knocked off Ohio State and they beat Alabama in their bowl game. I mean, you don't think Michigan's thinking in the back of their mind, oh my goodness, we got a squad, boys, and we might be dangerous again next year. Obviously, a lot of things need to happen to go their way, but at least for the Wolverines, they got something to cheer about. Ohio State, you're cheering right now because you got the national championship. Notre Dame, hell of a performance. And I know for a fact that $20 million is definitely going to go a long way for the Fighting Irish. And I will let you know, boys, they will be back. Keep an eye on Notre Dame. They're going to be one of my teams to watch next year. So will Texas. Texas will be a dangerous team. Georgia, Alabama, they're all coming back, y'all. And they're all going to be gunning for Ohio State. That Buckeye, that Big O, that is a bullseye now on their backs. And I hope they're ready because it's going to get very dusty at the very beginning. As a matter of fact, our former colleague Derek Ferreira has already mentioned it, and I think we should say it now. Week 1, opening night of the college football season, Texas versus Ohio State.
And couple that with Notre Dame versus the U.
Yeah. So you want to jump off your college football season? That's how you jump it off on week 1. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, great national championship game, but man, next year is going to be insane.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be insane next year. I mean, especially after Ohio State, coming off of their national championship, what a performance by them, but definitely kudos to Notre Dame. They fought back to try to make it a game again, but the deficit was just too much for them. And yeah, so Fletch, let me get this straight. Even with this national championship, all they cared about was what happened back in November.
There was one person on a podcast, and before anybody starts saying it, Derek Ferreira is not responsible for this. This was not his comments. So before you start to put 2 and 2 together, no, this was not Derek Ferreira. Ferreira was definitely more on the side of Ryan Day, more than anything else. So before anybody starts to jump and say, oh, did Ferreira say this? No, this was not Derek Ferreira.
It's someone else.
It was someone else that I was listening to. And he said, and quote, I don't care. I rather prefer that Ohio State loses to have Ryan Day fired because of the fact that it does not matter to him about the national championship because Ryan Day is 1-3 against the Wolverines.
Is this guy really serious?
No. And the thing is, he is true Ohio State. He was an alumni guy from Ohio State. He's a graduate from Ohio State.
I get that, but to say that you don't care about your team winning a national championship because Ryan Day hasn't done well against Michigan. Winning the national championship is the most important thing in college football. Come on, Fletch. You and I know this. Our team, Michigan, won the national championship, and we were so excited about it. And any team would be excited, but this guy here,
the reason why Michael Bullock is because it's about the rivalry. Rivalry trumps everything. And I get why he said it, even though it's wrong. And he's definitely wrong.
But he's so wrong.
This is why I understand why he said it. Because, look, to me, if Michigan would have lost to Ohio State, yes, it would have stung like hell for us to deal with that. And the thing was, I think we all can agree that this year we thought Michigan was going to lose to Ohio State. I mean, let's be realistic. If you looked at it on paper, Ohio State should have wiped the floor with the Michigan Wolverines. Should have wiped the floor with them because Michigan had a down year, did not play great at all. There were certain games where they disappeared. Like they did a Houdini that we didn't know what was up, what was down. It was like John Cena. We couldn't see Michigan. But when it mattered most, they showed up and they shined when the lights were brightest. The 2 final games of the year made my year. Yes, it was the greatest 8-5 record we ever had in our freaking life. But let me tell you, the final 2 wins made my season. The Ohio State win and the Alabama win at the quote unquote Outback Bowl in Orlando. Those 2 games alone made my season more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like how he's going about with this. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of other Ohio State fans that are happy with this. I mean, I'm sure that they still have that sour taste of losing to Michigan, but I don't think they would go as far as this person would say. I mean, there's that for the first time in, what is it, like 10 years that their team is national champions once again. So this is a great moment for them. And I think for this guy to literally not care about it, all because of the rivalry, I'm sorry. Shame on him. I mean,
but
I mean, if you don't, I get what you're trying to say. But if you don't,
here's the silver lining, Michael Bullock. Here's the silver lining. Ohio State has 9 national championships. Michigan's got 11. We still beat them.
Well, you're right on that.
We still beat them. We're still better than them. I mean, that's the moral of the story. And I'll say this. I think they're now 1 better than Notre Dame because I think Notre Dame has 8. Anthony, I think you can attest to that. I think Notre Dame has 8. They now tie, I believe they now tie USC for their national championships because now they both got 9. And I think Michigan's got 11 or 12. I stand corrected. I think they got 12 national championships. Michigan does. So, I mean, yeah.
Notre Dame has 11.
Oh, Notre Dame has 11. I stand corrected.
Yep.
All right, I stand corrected. I thought, and Michigan has more than Notre Dame, or do they?
Well, I'm checking it out. Of course, I'm going.
I know Alabama. I know Alabama. At least in modern day, Alabama's got 16. Yale is number 1 overall.
Michigan has 12.
Okay, so I was right. 12 national championships. So Yale's got like 19. Then it's Bama. Then I think it's like Princeton. Then you can start going back. And then it goes Michigan, Notre Dame. Then you got 2 teams tied, which is Ohio State and USC, because I think they both got 9 now. And I don't know where it goes after that. Because I know they showed, there was like a graphic recently.
USC has 11.
Okay.
And who else were you wondering about?
So USC has 11. Notre Dame has 11.
Michigan has 12.
Michigan's 12.
Ohio State with 9.
Ohio State with 9. Then who are they tied with?
Alabama. I think Alabama has 12. Actually, no. Alabama has 18.
18, yeah. I was about to say. I was like, hold on a second. No. Alabama's got a lot more because of Nick Saban.
Oh, yeah.
Because Saban's like, what, 7-3 in national championship games, yeah. I think he said?
I believe. but
Yeah,
I'm trying my best to find everything here.
But all in all, for me, I mean, look, I get why. I mean, because of the rivalry, but your team just accomplished something that they haven't done in 10 years, and that's win a national championship. And you should care for it. And to basically say, I don't care about the national championship. It's all about Michigan, and that Ryan Day should still be fired. No, no, sorry. That's just my opinion. Congratulations, Ohio State. A well deserved championship. I mean, yes, it didn't end the way you did, but boy, howdy, you picked it up at the right time in the college football playoff, and yep, all is forgiven when it comes to that fan base. Well, not everybody in that fan base.
Well, I just did a little quick research here, guys, and in no particular order, I found a great article on ESPN.com. The 10 college football programs with the most NCAA recognized national championships. Number 10 is Minnesota. Minnesota actually won 6 national championships. Their last one was in 1960. Oklahoma has 7. Their last one was 2000. Harvard has 8. Ohio State with this recent title, Ohio State now has 9. USC also has 9. They would have had 10, but one of their titles was vacated by the NCAA because of the whole Reggie Bush thing, as we all know. Michigan has 10 overall. And then Notre Dame has 13 overall. Princeton has 15. Alabama has 16. And the most is Yale. Yale has 18. So great article I just found there. So, but yes, congratulations indeed to the Ohio State Buckeyes on that well-deserved college football playoff national championship. All right, now for the real reason you all are here tonight. We're not going to go, overly in depth. We're going to save that for our Super Bowl preview in a couple weeks. But because this went a little longer than expected, we're just going to do our traditional preview like we always do. So, but that comprehensive, complete preview, we will do that for the Super Bowl. Trust me when I tell you. All right. Conference Championship Sunday is here. We're a couple of sleeps away from it, gentlemen. And we are going to start it off with the NFC Championship game. The George S. Hallis Trophy will go to the team, to the winner, and the team that's emblematic of the National Football Conference champions. 3 p.m. Eastern, over on Fox. It is the number 2 seed, the Philadelphia Eagles, at home at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. And they will be hosting the number 6 seed and their fellow NFC East Division rival, the Washington Commanders. Philadelphia got here by defeating the Green Bay Packers 22-10 in the wild card round. And then in the divisional round, a 28-22 win in the snow over the Los Angeles Rams. What a game that was. And then from there, the Washington Commanders, of course, we all remember it, the doink off the upright to defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay, the number 3 seed. And then 1 week ago, they pulled off the upset of the playoffs so far, going into Ford Field and taking down a team that many people thought was going to represent the NFC in Super Bowl 59. They went into their house and they damn near smashed them, 45-31. And that is how both of these teams got to this point. It's 3 p.m. Eastern over on Fox. And you know who's calling this game, of course. Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi. Philadelphia opening up as a 6-point favorite. And this is only the second postseason meeting between these two teams. They met only once before in playoff history. And that was in 1990, they played in an NFC wildcard game at the old Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, and the then Washington Redskins defeated the Philadelphia Eagles by a final score of 20-6. So 1-0 in favor of the Washington Commanders when it comes to the playoff history between these two teams, these two divisional rivals. So with that, let's dive on in, gentlemen. It will be interesting to see how Washington handles Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter, as well as Eagles running back Saquon Barkley. Commanders right guard Sam Cosmi, who faced Carter in the first two meetings against the Eagles, tore his right ACL against the Lions, and he is done for the season. Now it is uncertain who will start there, but the replacement will not be at Cosmi's level and must handle one of the best defenders in the NFL. As for Saquon Barkley, he gained 130 yards and 3 touchdowns on just 3 of his carries versus Washington this season, and 26 others went for 2 yards or less. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts injured his left knee in last week's divisional round playoff win over the Los Angeles Rams. He rushed 6 times for 71 yards before being wrestled down awkwardly in the third quarter. His only rushing stats afterward came on a kneel down to end the game. Barkley said he expects Jalen to be Jalen, but questions remain about just how mobile Jalen Hurts will be in the NFC Championship game. This is the 5th NFC Championship game between NFC East teams, and the first since 1986, when it was the then Washington Redskins against the New York Giants at the old Giants Stadium. The previous 2 winners, Washington in 1982 when they defeated Dallas, and the Giants in 1986 when they beat Washington, those 2 teams went on to win the Super Bowl. So this game could be very well significant. The X factor is Commanders wide receiver De'Ami Brown. Brown has added a big play element to the Commanders' pass game as a third-level target for quarterback Jaden Daniels. In Washington's 2 playoff wins, Brown caught 11 passes for 187 yards and a touchdown. Look for Commanders offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury to set up Brown on concepts that attack both split safety and man coverage. The FPI is going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game. 64% going with the Philadelphia Eagles to represent the NFC in Super Bowl 59. And I, too, am going with the Philadelphia Eagles to represent the NFC in Super Bowl 59. Highly entertaining game. My final score, I am going to go 34-30. The Philadelphia Eagles defeat the Washington Commanders and advance to their 2nd Super Bowl in the last 3 years. But I would not at all be surprised. I would not at all be surprised if Washington does the unthinkable again. They already beat the 3 seed Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. They did the damn near impossible, went into Ford Field and took that crowd out of the game early and often, and beat the number 1 seeded Detroit Lions, a team many of us thought was going to represent the NFC in Super Bowl 59, including yours truly. Do not underestimate this Commander team, and do not take this Commander team for granted. But I gotta go with Philly though. They've been here before. They've had a lot more postseason success than Washington has recently. If Washington were to win, what a story it would be for this team. 33 years since their last Super Bowl appearance. We shall see. But for right now, I have to go with Philly, and I would not at all be surprised if Saquon Barkley was the difference maker in this one. 34-30, give me Philadelphia to win the National Football Conference Championship and that George S. Halas Trophy for the 2nd time in 3 years. Not much more to say. MF, who do you got representing the NFC in Super Bowl 59?
This one's going to be very interesting because it all depends on the health of Jalen Hurts. I think if Jalen is not at 100%, I think an upset could happen. Um, the way I feel is I kind of right now, obviously, what they got to do is they got to lean on Saquon Barkley if you're Philadelphia. Lean on Saquon Barkley, have him run the rock throughout the night. He's been one of the best players out there. He's been on a mission. I feel like this could be his and he's already having a great coming out in the playoffs. And this might be the one that puts him over the top. The thing is that obviously with um with the way that Jaden Daniels has been playing, dude, this guy is absolutely been amazing, man. Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry as they call him, has been amazing. He's had his moments in the playoffs. Uh, I feel like the defense is more underrated for Washington, but you're going to Philadelphia, you're going to that loud house, and I just don't think they'll be able to hang with the Eagles. So I am with you, Anthony, but I think it's going to be a little more. I'm not going to say lopsided, but I think it's like a 27-14. I think the Eagles are going to win comfortably, but I think it's going to be one of those type of games. I don't think it's going to be a major blowout, but I think it's going to be a comfortable win more than anything else. So I think it's going to be a 27-14, but I got the Philadelphia Eagles winning the NFC and going to the Super Bowl. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, like you said, this is what an unbelievable story this has been with the Commanders. I mean, if you would have told me before the season started that the Washington Commanders would be one win away from the Super Bowl, what would you guys have told me?
No, not just yet. No, they got a long way to go.
I mean, especially after only 4 wins
the year before, yeah, and a new head coach, Dan Quinn.
A lot of people were considering them like a laughing stock, and nobody really took them seriously. And now here they are. I mean, one win away from the ultimate show, the ultimate game.
And what was the turning point of the season for them? The Hail Mary.
The Hail Mary against the Chicago. Yeah. That changed their season. That changed their fortunes.
And my dad told me something that I didn't even know about. If the Washington Commanders pull this off, that Jaden Daniels would be the first rookie quarterback ever to start a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So that would be history in the making.
What a story that would be.
Yeah, I mean, that would be something if that happens. And this is why I'm not taking this Commanders team lightly. I mean, I'm sure the Eagles will, like, I'm with you guys. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles as well. But do not, I repeat, do not take this Commanders team lightly. What Dan Quinn has done with this team has been unreal. Because, like you said, ever since that Hail Mary, this team has been on a roll. I mean, for them to go in there last week in Detroit and hang what was it, like 40, 50 points against the Detroit Lions?
45.
45? And that is just so impressive. And Philadelphia just needs to do its job, not just offensively, but defensively. And if they could do that, they should have no problem. But if they start at one point to take this team lightly, that is where the Commanders can take the advantage. So I'm with all of you. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles to win, but I would not at all be surprised if the Washington Commanders pull off the upset. So Eagles win, and now Florio, let's get to the one you've been chomping at.
Understatement of the year. Okay, here we go. The main event. not only of this show, but also the main event of Conference Championship Sunday. 6:30 p.m. on CBS and also streaming on Paramount Plus. The AFC Championship game. The number 1 seed, the Kansas City Chiefs, at home at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium, and they will be hosting a familiar playoff foe. The number 2 seed, the Buffalo Bills. 7th postseason meeting between these two teams. Kansas City leads the postseason series by a count of 4-2. First playoff meeting was in 1966 in Buffalo. They played for the old AFL championship. Or actually, it was the AFC championship. That was just before the first Super Bowl. And Kansas City smashed Buffalo in that game by a score of 31-7. Second postseason meeting. You got to go all the you got to scroll all the way down to 1991. They met in the AFC divisional playoff, also in Buffalo, and the Buffalo Bills smashed the Kansas City Chiefs 37-14. 2 years later, 1993, they met in the AFC Championship game at the old oh, my mistake. That was the AFL Championship. I thought so. Okay. In 66. This one was the AFC Championship game that was also in Buffalo, and Buffalo defeated Kansas City by a score of 30-13. They would not meet in the playoffs again until 2020. AFC Championship game in Arrowhead. Kansas City won that game by a score of 38-24. After that, only the greatest playoff game in NFL history. The overtime thriller 3 years ago in Arrowhead, Kansas City winning it 42-36 in overtime, the infamous 13-second game. And then 1 short year ago, they met in Buffalo in the divisional playoff. Kansas City stole it in Buffalo by a score of 27-24. Kansas City opening up as only a 2-point favorite. The spread is only 2 points in favor of Kansas City. And of course, with this game being on CBS, you know who's working this as always. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson, Evan Washburn, and Jay Feely. So with that, I don't know what else there is to say. Good old MF, Michael Fletcher, come on in. You get to lead it off. This is it. This is our unofficial Super Bowl right here. You know how we get about this particular game, the AFC Championship game. But this one right here, it's 1 versus 2. We're talking about now the best quarterback rivalry in the game today, and the best since Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. When we're talking about Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, for the 7th time, they're doing it one more time. This time for the right to represent the AFC, the American Football Conference, in Super Bowl 59. So, MF, if you're ready, come on in. This is it. This is our game. This is the one that we always preach about right here. This is the one that our unofficial Super Bowl, if you will, and it's got a Super Bowl feel. Allen, Mahomes, one team looking to cement themselves as perhaps the best dynasty, the best modern day dynasty, while the other is basically they basically want to say enough is enough. It's time for a change. Let's make history. This is their best opportunity to do so. Buffalo, Kansas City, AFC Championship, the right to go to Super Bowl 59 as the AFC representative, claim the Lamar Hunt Trophy, emblematic of the American Football Conference champions. As the Phil Simms to my Jim Nantz, now more than ever, my friend, do that thing I like. Hello, friends.
Yes, indeed, and this is it. Basically, earlier in the year, Buffalo and Kansas City faced off, and Buffalo handled Kansas City with no problem. That was in Buffalo. This time they're going to Arrowhead. There's a bigger difference. Um, you could even say Buffalo was very fortunate that they're even in the AFC Championship game because of the late game heroics by Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens that led to a ill-advised, horrific mistake by Mark Andrews, dropping what would have been the game-tying two-point conversion that gave Buffalo the chance to win the game and to move on to the AFC Championship game. Josh Allen did not play great. He cannot play like that in the AFC Championship game, or Kansas City will eat him alive. And you know that. He's got to step it up and have the best game of his career. Whenever these two teams play, we know there's going to be fireworks, there's going to be explosions. This is going to be a heavyweight championship fight. The one thing that really worries me about this game is that if the game is close, are we going to see some chicanery? You don't want to see it, but you've been hearing it. All these referees getting involved, sticking their nose where it doesn't belong. And I hate to say it, but we have seen moments where the referees like to dictate the pace in a game. We all remember the NFC Championship game a few years ago that led to Super Bowl 53 and the infamous non-call of the pass interference. So, could we see something like that happen? You don't know. It's very possible. But the one thing we've been hearing is how Kansas City's been getting calls, getting their ways, this and that, blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, Buffalo's been getting some calls going their ways as well. And a lot of people's been behind the scenes. They've been more vocal about Kansas City's faults than they do about Buffalo. But once in a rare while, you'll hear some snickering from the peanut gallery about Buffalo, how they're getting calls that they should not be getting either. So we'll see how this plays out. The one thing is for sure, Allen needs to outperform himself in this game. Mahomes played fine. Kelsey played like Kelsey. If Kansas City plays the way that they normally plays, Kansas City's going to the Super Bowl again. But this time feels different. This time feels more like this is Buffalo's time. That this could be Buffalo's year. You never know. Allen, you know Josh Allen's been hearing it. You're great, but you're not the next level. You're not elite. You haven't proven yourself yet. There's people thinking that Josh Allen could be the MVP of the league when this is all said and done. That by the weekend of the Super Bowl, when they do the NFL honors, which I think is the Thursday before the Super Bowl, that Josh Allen could be the most valuable player of the National Football League. We don't know. It's very possible. The only thing that I can say is this. To be great, you need to have moments that will make us remember you. Josh Allen had great games, but he's never had a moment that makes me want to say that you're now a part of that group. Patrick Mahomes has done it too many times. Josh Allen needs to raise his game. And he needs to raise it to a level that makes me notice, that makes Michael Bullock notice, and everybody else. Anthony Floyd already knows because he's diehard Buffalo Bills through and through. He's seen Josh Allen hit that mark so many times. I've yet to see it. Michael Bullock has yet to see it. Everybody else has yet to see Josh Allen take that next step. You beat Patrick Mahomes on Sunday. You go to Kansas City and take the Lamar Hunt Trophy home back to Orchard Park, New York. You get that golden ticket to New Orleans, Louisiana for the Super Bowl. That's the moment you arrive, Josh Allen. And now it's you that has to make that step. You know, a lot of people put the microscope on you when Stephon Diggs left. So a lot of people said that you're the reason why he got let go. You all this up to this point, you've proven that no, Diggs was the problem. You're doing just fine. But now this is the championship game. The AFC title on the line. And you were in an AFC championship before and you lost. You had that heartbreak. You've been through that pain. You've been through it all. But the people that knows would tell you your scrutiny and everything that you've done. And there's even been some people, fair or not fair, that says that you're good, but you're not great. You're on tier B, you're not elite. You can prove everybody wrong on Sunday by winning the AFC Championship. Kansas City is going to play their game. You know they're going to do it. And you could say there might be some shenanigans from the referees because obviously that has happened. And anybody who thinks, oh, the referees will not be involved in the game, they will. I'm just gonna, spoiler alert, the referees will get involved. There's gonna be a call somewhere along the way where either Buffalo fans are gonna get pissed off or Kansas City Chiefs fans are gonna get pissed off. And that's how it normally goes. There's never been a clean game whatsoever. Let's call a spade here, folks. You know,
I hope we get a clean game because this is what the AFC Championship is all about. I do not want to see refs, cost either one of these teams the game.
Understandable, but I'm going to tell you it right now, Bullock. It's probably going to happen. We're probably going to be yelling about something in this game that's going to go against somebody. And quite frankly, I don't think people are going to cry over spilt milk if it goes against Kansas City. Because you know what? I'm glad you jumped in. Because there was one thing that I've been hearing that really kind of annoyed me for the last few weeks. And the thing is this. Everybody talks about, the Patriot way, the glory years of the New England Patriots. You realize there's been a few times where the referees were in the Patriots' back pockets. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Don't you remember the so-called tuck rule? Don't you know the number of times?
I remember that.
The number of times that the Patriots were holding St. Louis Ram players during the Super Bowl, there was no flags flying. And I'm just saying this because the same arguments that Patriot fans have been complaining about, or I should say everybody was yelling about, but the Patriots were keeping their mouth shut, Kansas City is now getting those calls. Exact same calls that the Patriots have been doing. And the funny thing is, the Patriot fans are all up in arms. And the thing is, I'm like, you bunch of freaking hypocrites. Because here, because hello, for 20 years, the Patriots were in the back pockets of the freaking referees, and we never heard one peep from you fans. Not once. So now all of a sudden, because it's Kansas City, now you want to say something? This is where open mouth, insert foot, shut the F up, is what I say.
Well, I'll tell you this, Fletch. I was never like that, like those other fans.
So no, and that's why I'm not, and I'm gonna openly admit that you never made any stink about it. Hell, I never once heard Derek Ferreira make any stink about it. So let's just put that out there on the internet for the whole world to know that Bullock was always correct. Even Ferreira was correct. Was Ferreira mad about certain calls that went against him? Yeah, but the thing is, he never took it to a level that made us say, "Whoa, wait a minute, that's wrong. You should not have done that."
And the thing for me is, I would only get mad if it was, how do I say it? Like if
a call that determined the outcome of the game,
or if it was something that the refs really missed.
If it was a blatant miss by a referee.
If it's a blatant miss, I mean, here's the perfect example.
Rams
and I know this doesn't involve my team.
Rams and Saints.
The NFC Rams Saints. Roby Coleman clearly hit the receiver with the refs right in front.
Yep.
And for some reason
they turned the blind eye.
So I'm only going to be upset when it's a blatant miscall.
And I'm with Bullock on that. But the one thing that, and MF, you know this from our PTI days, the one thing that really gets me going is when the referees literally determine the outcome of the game.
And we've seen that too many times.
Way too many times.
But the thing is this. Everybody talks about how the NFL is rigged. And I get it. It's not. Don't give me that BS. I've heard it. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it when they say it's rigged.
Some people compare it to the WWE, for goodness sakes.
Yes, true. Yes, I've been hearing that as lately too. But the thing is
professional wrestling in general.
Yeah, but the thing is this, guys. At the end of the day, I don't think Buffalo gives a shit. They don't care. Because of the fact that they've beaten Kansas City once and beat them pretty comfortably. If they play that same game plan that they did earlier in that year, I'm sorry, the referees could have any type of difference and it still will not matter in my eyes. I'm going to do it. I don't give a damn. 27-17. Buffalo goes to Super Bowl 59, representing the AFC as the champions. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
I'll tell you what, Fletch and Florio. I've been thinking about this all day. I mean, like you said, this is the main event. And I mean, I've been like 50-50 throughout the day because part of me wants to go with Kansas City because of the history where they've beaten the Bills in the playoffs many times. But another part of me is going with Buffalo because look, it's their time. And the one thing I fear when it comes to the Bills losing, if they do lose, Josh Allen is going to he's going to hear it from the doubters. He's going to hear it from the naysayers. They're going to say, you can never win the big one. Yes, you've beaten the Chiefs during the regular season, but come playoff time, you can't win the big one against them in the playoffs. Well, I have them after all the thinking throughout the day. I'm going to say it right now. It is time. It is time. Buffalo, they've come so close so many times. I think this is finally the year they're going to break through and finally win the big one and get to the big game. So I'm with Fletch as well. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC Championship and finally, by God, finally head back to the Super Bowl for the first time in 31 years. I am I correct on that, Florio? 31 years?
31 years. You are correct, sir.
Yes. And it is finally going to happen. They've come so close, and I think this is where they're going to finally break through. Buffalo wins, and they will be your AFC champs and represent the AFC in Super Bowl 59.
Oh man. Oh my goodness. How in the world am I going to follow all that? Well, I got to do it. I shall do my best. And okay. First things first, let me get the schematics out of the way here. Can the Buffalo Bills finally take down the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs after losing 3 straight to Kansas City in the postseason? The Bills will have to go against history to do so, having lost 7 straight road playoff games. The ability to limit Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes will play a large role, especially given Buffalo's strength at forcing takeaways. In Buffalo's regular season win over Kansas City in November, Patrick Mahomes threw 2 interceptions. However, the Chiefs have gone 8 straight games, including the playoffs, without committing a turnover. The Chiefs will put extra emphasis on third down defense against the Bills, who converted 9 out of 15 on third downs in their Week 11 win over Kansas City. That led to Buffalo holding an advantage of 71 offensive plays to 52 and a time of possession edge of 34 minutes to 26. Getting Josh Allen and the Bills' offense off the field will take some creativity from their defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo, and a strong pass rush like the Chiefs showed last week when they sacked Houston Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud 8 times in their divisional round win. The Bills have committed the fewest turnovers in the NFL this season, 8, while also producing a league high 35 takeaways, including the regular season and the playoffs. The X factor is Chiefs defensive end George Karlaftis. Limiting George Allen's ability to get to the edges of the pocket where he can create as both a runner and thrower is critical for the Chiefs defense. Karlaftis, who had 3 of the 8 sacks of C.J. Stroud in the divisional round, will be tasked with containing Josh Allen and generating pressure late in the down. And, you talk about the referees. I wasn't going to talk about the refs. Well, I will mention this. Clete Blakeman is going to be the referee for this game. By the way, if you're wondering who it's going to be on the NFC side, it's going to be Sean Hockley. Sean Hockley will be the NFC Championship game referee. But I'm going to bring up this ref stat since you guys brought up the whole ref stuff. Clete Blakeman has been the referee for 12 Chiefs games since Patrick Mahomes was drafted in 2017. You know what Kansas City's record is in those 12 games? 6-6. They are 6-6 in those games, but they're 110-30 in all other games. Blakeman's regular season crew led the NFL with 18 flags a game, but it's worth noting that Blakeman himself threw only 3 flags, count them, 3, for roughing the passer, tied for the second fewest in the league. And believe it or not, the FPI is actually going with Buffalo to win this game. It's not overwhelming. It's only 55%, but still, they're still going with Buffalo, and it's a pretty decent percentage, 55%. After everything that this team has been through, after all the disappointments, all the heartbreaks, and the whole 9 yards, including 1 year ago when Kansas City went into Buffalo and ripped the Bills' hearts out. And I know the Bills have to overcome a lot. They got to go to Arrowhead, where they have won in the regular season. Yes. Including the last time they were there, December of 23. Remember the infamous offensive offsides penalty that literally determined the outcome of that game? That's what happened the last time. They got to overcome Chiefs Kingdom. There is a very realistic possibility they will have to overcome the referees, Taylor Swift, and the Swifties, and the whole 9 yards. This, in my honest opinion, this is without a doubt, in my opinion, the best chance that the Buffalo Bills have to do this thing. Josh Allen had his best statistical season. And why was that? Because he did not have Stephon Diggs in his ear screaming at him, literally. He doesn't have Stephon Diggs whining and crying and screaming at him, throw me the damn ball, I got to pad my stats. Do you have any idea how much freedom Josh Allen had this year? So many people at the start of going into this season, said that this team was going to be a rebuilding year. A lot of the experts were split. Most of them had the Miami Dolphins winning the AFC East. Another few had the New York Jets winning the AFC East. They had Buffalo right around third. They had Buffalo winning right around in the threshold of 8 to 9 games. They won 13 games. They won the AFC East. Matter of fact, they were the first team to win a division in the NFL this year. The first team to clinch a division title, that was the Buffalo Bills. Thanksgiving weekend, as we were wrapping up Thanksgiving, when they smashed the 49ers on that Sunday night snow game. This is the best chance they have to do it. They are a team of equals. They have a belief in each other. All the legends are coming together. 99-year-old Marv Levy released a video, posted a video on social media encouraging the team. And this city, this community, this fan base, Bills Mafia, has been starving for this moment, as Bullock said, for 31 years. The last time they won the AFC Championship, they beat Kansas City. But the thing was, that game was in Buffalo. I have every right to go against my team and go with Kansas City because of all of the past history and my belief in that, well, they are the champs. They've been the champs, and until you beat the champs, you can never go against them. The gut is always going to tell me to go with Kansas City. But damn it to hell, I am not listening to my damn gut. I'm listening to my heart. Bills Mafia has waited long enough. I know I certainly have waited long enough. I think it's time for a changing of the guard, gentlemen. And it's going to be a back alley gang fight, as MF would say. Kansas City defeating Houston 23-14 in the divisional round. Buffalo smashed Denver 31-7 in the wild card round and escaped the Baltimore Ravens 27-25 in the divisional round. If they can get out of the divisional round, which was one of their kryptonites, now you gotta go against the team who has been literally our kryptonite. And that is the big bad Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs Kingdom, the referees, Taylor and the Swifties. But the last time they played at Buffalo, yes, Miss Swiftie was there. Buffalo got the win. And do you think for one moment that they haven't forgotten about the pain and heartbreak of 1 year ago when they had Kansas City in their house? Everybody thought that was their best chance to do it. I know I did. And yet they got their hearts broken again. It ain't going to happen this year. I believe in this team like I believe in Joe Hendry. And Joe Hendry, it took him a long time to get his moment. And what happened last Sunday night at Genesis? He finally got his moment and he became the TNA heavyweight champion. If Joe Hendry can do it, my Buffalo Bills can certainly do it as well. It's not going to be easy. I think this is going to be a 5-star classic. I think this has Shakespearean drama potential. And this definitely has potential of being the greatest, of one of the greatest, if not the greatest, AFC championship game of all time. And I've noticed a pattern. January 2019, Michael Bullock and his New England Patriots went into Kansas City and they defeated the Chiefs 37-31 in overtime. 3 years later, January of 2022, I believe this game also went to overtime. The Cincinnati Bengals went into Arrowhead and stunned the Chiefs on a walk-off field goal. I would not be surprised if we see another overtime thriller, or it could be a walk-off to end the game in regulation. But regardless of how we get there, of course, I am going to go with my Buffalo Bills to shock the world and win the AFC championship, go into Arrowhead and steal it, just like Kansas City did in Buffalo 1 year ago. I think Buffalo gets their payback. This is literally their best chance to do it. And I think it will either be at the end, at literally the end of regulation, or sometime in overtime. I believe that Tyler Bass is going to get his ultimate moment of redemption. 34-31 on a last second or walk-off field goal by Tyler Bass. 34-31. The Buffalo Bills defeat the Kansas City Chiefs. And with that, and based that we agreed on all of this, that would set up a possible matchup of the Buffalo Bills versus the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 59. And what a game that would be. 34-31, Buffalo wins. And with that, that will put the bow on this edition, on this conference championship edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. We will be back with you again tomorrow night at around, I want to say 10:30 or so tomorrow night. MF will have it, Brace Fan 95. We got a loaded edition of TXN of the Cerebral Smack Talk. We got NXT, we got Friday Night SmackDown, and we have Saturday night's main event. That'll be tomorrow night. Monday night, we do it all over again. We kick off Royal Rumble week, Ridiculously Raw. We will review Monday Night Raw's go-home show for the Royal Rumble. And I will have my Tony's Take, the special live edition of TNA Impact from Thursday night. I will address that on Monday night. And next Friday night, we will not have TXN Sports World. We will, however, have a special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk where we will review NXT, review Friday Night SmackDown's go-home show for the Royal Rumble, and preview the Royal Rumble itself. The pay-per-view event itself. And what a doozy that show is going to be next Saturday night. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, this is Anthony Florio here for Michael Bullock, and in spirit, good old MF Michael Fletcher. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Saturday. And until tomorrow night, for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95, you have been watching the Conference Championship Edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and Streamia.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.